Welcome back to the farm for another project. If it's your first time, I hope you enjoy. So what we're going to be working on today, we're not building anything. We're actually going to continue on with my last couple videos, which is fixing stuff. So what we've just picked up here is I just picked up this 1998 Subaru Legacy Outback. The reason I picked up this old classic is I was in the market for another used car. I need something to commute to work. Winter's coming up, and I really needed something either all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. The problem I had is as I started looking at the market, which is just ridiculous right now for used cars with everything that's been going on, I went and looked at cars that had 120, 130,000 miles on them that were still $15,000, $16,000. I couldn't justify that personally. If you can, this video is not for you. If you can't, you're like, man, I'm on a strict budget and I really want to try to fix things and make things on my own. This is what we're going to be talking about. So let's kind of show you what the issues are with this thing and let's get started fixing it. All right, so this 1998 Subaru Legacy Outback has the most common motor, which is a 2.5 liter. Nice thing, the reason I like about this engine, they're everywhere, tons of them on the market. Tons of them everywhere to get parts. Parts are at every parts store you walk into, and parts are very reasonably priced for these. The other nice thing about this is, if you're somebody like me that gets on the forums and helping other people, the Subarus have a cult following of people on these forums, and I'll tell you, there are some super helpful people on there. You do get some trolls, but that's just the internet in general. But you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna want to help you if you really want to fix your car. So don't be afraid to take on something like this. So when I went out and looked at this one, there's a few key things I look at anytime I'm ever buying a used car. I look for something that actually doesn't have a custom radio. I look for something that really has just good bones of a vehicle. Good tires, good brakes when you drive it down the highway, get it up to highway speed. If it's not shimmying and shaking and doesn't want to change lanes like it has alignment issues, those are the main things you're kind of going to base off of. This car is something at least good to start with, because if it runs, drives, starts and stops and drives well at highway speed, you could probably fix everything else from that point. Biggest problem I have with this one is it leaks oil, which is typical for Subarus. They all leak oil. They're kind of like old Jeeps. They just mark their territory everywhere they park. You just deal with it. But the clutch on this one, the clutch feels good. It shifts really nice. But that pedal, actually, as you put it down, when you're coming out of first gear, the pedal only comes about halfway and then stays. Every gear after that, it seems like as you're building pressure, then the pedal comes back up, which to me leads me to believe that it's a hydraulic issue. So what we're going to be replacing is the clutch master cylinder and slave cylinder, and keeping our fingers crossed that that's going to take it, and then we can drive this thing for 6 months, 9 months without any other major issues. Now, if that doesn't fix it, which then leads me to believe it could be something related to the clutch itself, then we'll have to step back into pulling the motor and going through the engine, since we're going to have it out, putting a new clutch in this vehicle and kind of go from there. So enough rambling. Let's get some tools. Let's get underneath here, get the master cylinder out first, then we'll replace the slave cylinder, and hopefully that'll be it. Let's get started. All right, so now we've got the hood up. You got your clutch master cylinder is up here. So you got your brake master, then you have your clutches next to it. The clutch slave cylinder on this one, you can kind of see it right here. So we're gonna have to get a couple things out of the way. I'm not a fan of trying to get around all hoses and stuff like that. I'm just gonna yank all this out of my way so I just don't have to deal with it. So it just makes life easier. I'd rather spend time taking stuff and getting it out of my way and have more workspace than trying to fish these big giant hands down in there working on things. So we're gonna go ahead and get all this stuff removed, all the interference stuff out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and pull the clutch off first. And then, like I said, we're gonna go to the slave cylinder. Now, just under quick inspection, I was looking down here on the slave cylinder. The boot on this thing is, I mean, actually, if I push on it, it's actually tearing and cracking. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the main part of our issue, but we'll see once we get in here. Once we get this out, what we'll do is actually pull this boot back and we'll look to see if it's leaking on the inside. So let's get all this interference out of the way. Then we'll start getting this unbolted. Then we'll go inside the vehicle underneath and remove that clutch master cylinder. So let's get started. So if you look up in here, oh, here's the cotter pin. Drop that out of the way. Now there's this little plastic clip on the end of this rod. Sometimes if you get lucky, you can just squeeze it a little bit with your pliers and it'll be enough to hold it to push that rod through. We left that on this one. Then you just slide that rod out. Now we can finish unbolting this master cylinder and it'll pull right out from under the hood. Now here's one other thing to consider now that I'm kind of looking at this master cylinder, is if you actually look here at the old one, there's no threads left. It's actually almost ready to fall off, which means as I was pushing this back in, there might not been enough fluid in there to actually actuate this. So this could have been the problem all along. I have the new one here, so I'm going to adjust back a little bit and see if that helps. We'll bleed the whole system. But this master cylinder and sleeve cylinder might not have been wrong. That could have been the problem all along, because this lock nut was actually loose. All right, anybody who might be working on their car a lot, or you're thinking about kind of fixing some stuff, spend the money, go by Harbor Freight or wherever, buy yourself one of these vacuum operated little cylinders here. It'll help you bleed your systems out so much quicker. Normally it'll come with a bottle like this you can drop on top that has different adapters for all your cylinders and everything. Makes a world of a difference if you're going to be working on vehicles. Even if you only end up having to bleed 2 or 3 brake jobs, this is going to make life easier for you if you have to do a lot of work by yourself. So now we're going to top this off, hold this right here, we'll let the vacuum do its job, and then we're going to come back through. I'll see if I got somebody at the house that can actually come help me and make sure that we're going to do a good foot bleed on top of this one. All right, here we are on a test drive. Taking off there. Oh yeah, pedal comes right back up. Comes all the way to the top. It's not staying down on the bottom like it was before. Let's kind of get up to speed here and see how it holds up here. Clutch pedal's nice and smooth, it's coming all the way back to the top. And the clutch itself, now that I have good hydraulics, it's catching when I'm releasing about 50%. So that's pretty good for the clutch on this car. I never know what it felt like before, but just previous experience, it seems like that clutch is pretty in good shape. So hopefully this will last a while and we can drive this out. So all right, let's get it back in the shop, kind of clean some things up here real quick from all that brake fluid and bleeding it, and we'll call it good. All right, now for the true test, we're gonna go ahead and drive the car into work today. So that'll get us some backcountry road driving as well as a little bit of highway. So we can really kind of put this clutch through the ringer and kind of see how things hold up. Hopefully it does well. Well, thanks for joining for another video. I hope you liked it. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll do what I can to answer them, all of them for you. If you enjoyed this video, you wanna join me for all my other projects, repairs, whatever it is I decide to dive into, hit that subscribe button. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you around.